Welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am streaming to you from Central Europe here, close to the Danube River in Budapest. I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far. Today, we are continuing with IELTS Task 2 Writing for the academic version of the test, but this is very synonymous or similar to the general version of the exam as well, this Task 2 essay. Just a couple of announcements as we get going. We have new membership levels, so check that out on our channel. If you want to become a member, you have a choice of 4 different membership levels. Our materials come from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for the general version of the test, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. This is a members chat class, which means only members are able to chat. That's one of the perks of being a member. We have 3 of these classes each week, but we do have 4 all chat classes, and these come after the members chat classes, 30 minutes following the end of this class. Students, if you have not downloaded our app to your phone or tablet yet, definitely check it out. It is Academic IELTS Help, so search for that app in your app store. Look for our logo, Academic IELTS Help app. You can access your premium account from your app or our website. And if you have questions, contact me, Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. Hi, Hermes. There's one of our members joining in now. Hopefully some more will join in the next minute. So again, our schedule for today is this Task 2. And then it will be followed by a speaking part 2 cue card that's going to be for everyone. Hi, Alexander. So just while we wait a little bit more for some more members to join in, this is what the websites look like. Let me show you those real quick. Here we go. This is the academic IELTS website with the blue background. Click that big red button to join us there. All right, let's get back to the lesson of today. Hi, Kesey. All right, everyone. So we are focusing, members, on using punctuation marks that we learned in the members chat classes this week, continuing with the body paragraph and the conclusion today. Again, here's a quick review of the question. Some people think that studying history is a waste of time, while others think that it is essential to learn. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. Hi, Doves. Use explanations and examples to support your opinion. We discussed this in detail. We planned for it. Hopefully the members remember the ideas. And then we came up with this introduction. So this is a band 9 introductory paragraph for this question. The study of history is a significant part of traditional school subjects. Learning about the past involves gaining knowledge of societies, conflicts, and inventions shaping the world around us. Since school time is limited, it is important to evaluate the utility of learning this subject. Although certain individuals may feel that the study of history is useless, as it is often skewed and readily available, I suppose that this information is fundamental for students to acquire in order to learn about past mistakes and establishing goals. All right, so that is our thesis statement. And our thesis statement will give us the body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2 content. Okay, so members, what do we need to discuss first in our body paragraph 1? Okay, so let's start it off. Body 1. Of course, that starts with the topic sentence. And what should we write about in the topic sentence? How should we start this off? What needs to be included there? So again, it's flowing from our thesis, and it's kind of there. Looks like somebody prepared for today's class. Ferdov's, good job. Ferdov says, although studying history is boring for many pupils, there are clear benefits to know about the mistakes of the past and not to repeat them. Okay, so Ferdov's, the angle that you're taking is to state that it's boring and then take this point about learning about past mistakes. Sure, yeah. So you're giving the negative and the positive in body paragraph 1. That's one way to do it for Dobbs. You can go that direction. So for body paragraph 1, you can take this. It is often skewed and learning about past mistakes. So that can be body paragraph 1. That's one strategy, absolutely. And then body paragraph 2 can be information is readily available. And then switching to the positive side of helping to establish goals. Okay, so body 1, body 2. That's one way that we can do it. However, there is another way that we could do this. It's up to you. And I'll leave it up to you members to decide which one you want to do. The alternative, the other way to do it, is to talk purely about one argument. So talking about history is often skewed and readily available, so body paragraph 1, and then talk about learning about past mistakes and establishing goals, body paragraph 2. So let's make this option 2. And the last one that I just showed, let's make that option 1. Hermes, Alexander, Kisi, Ferdovs, and Roshni, what would you like to do? Which option would you like to choose for this essay? Would you like to talk about negatives in body paragraph 1 and then positives in body paragraph 2, the side that we support? Or do you want to mix the negative and the positive each in body paragraphs? We can do both. It is possible. One is a little bit more challenging than the other. I wonder if you realize which one that is. So Roshni says, let's talk about the negatives first and then switch to the positives. Okay. Kisi agrees. And that's probably a wise choice, Roshni and Kisi, because I think that is the easier way to do it. Why? Why is it easier to discuss the negatives first and the positives second? Why do you think that is? So why is this option 2 a little bit simpler than mixing the two together? There is a logical answer to that, and it's important to recognize that for these kinds of questions. While you do that, you can start thinking about your topic sentence. Okay. Hi, I'm Arjeet. So let's start looking at this from option 2. Start thinking about your topic sentence. Still seeing if one of our members will answer that question, why option 2 is easier. Roshni says it's hard to express when it's mixed together clearly. That's correct, Roshni. So when you're mixing it, it's more challenging to write a coherent essay. The reason for that is the connection between the negatives and the positives. It's not very direct. These are very indirect connections. Okay? When the connections are more direct, as I showed you in past essays, then it can be simpler to go negative, positive, negative, positive. Okay, I hope that makes sense, right? Here, the connections are indirect. They're not as clear, so it's better to keep them separate in two sentences, or in two body paragraphs. Okay, so students, go ahead and write the topic sentence here for the negatives. Okay? And Kesey, yes, that's another good perspective or a take on that, is to go from the weaker to the stronger argument. So from the argument that we don't support to the argument that we do support. Okay? Now the topic sentence needs to be a more detailed description of this idea. Okay? And I'm going to write my topic sentence and then I'll wait for you as well. Okay? So there is my topic sentence. I'm looking forward to seeing yours, members. So this is my topic sentence here. Many people who believe that learning history in school is an utter waste of time may argue that historical information is often subjective and it is available whenever a person needs such knowledge. Okay? So that is my topic sentence. This topic sentence is clearly a deeper definition of this first point in my thesis. It is often skewed and readily available. So I'm expanding on that idea. I'm giving more detail to the reader so that the reader more clearly understands what I mean by skewed and readily available. Okay? A big part of effective communication is paraphrasing your concepts with more details. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then I go with my example, or sorry, my explanation. Many times students, and this is also for the viewers, they learn that in the body paragraph, you need a topic sentence, and then you need supporting point 1, supporting point 2, and so forth. Of course, a good question to ask your teachers is, what do you mean supporting points? So what is a supporting point? Supporting points are both explanations and examples, and the clearer those supporting points, the stronger the paragraph, the stronger the information, the higher the band score. Okay, so always aim to have good explanations supported by good examples. Ferdovs says the topic sentence could be studying history at school takes much time for pupils, while that time could be used for other studies. Okay. For Dobbs, avoid the word huge, especially for those of you who are sitting in the academic version of the test. Huge is quite a colloquial term. We use it in speech, but it looks kind of funny in writing, okay? Unless you're writing a text message or just a friendly letter. But in professional writing, business or school, avoid the word huge. I see it all the time, and it's kind of funny to see. Okay, Kesey says, history is usually described in written documents, some past events recorded by different people, languages, and nations. As such, information about past memory could have many variations of the same history. Yeah, Kesey, that's very good. Okay, that's a nice detailed topic sentence. I think, Kesey, that what you're writing there could be the explanation rather than the topic sentence. I'm not sure if you meant that as the topic sentence or the explanation, but that's almost more of an explanation than a topic sentence. Okay, the topic sentence, Kesey, just think paraphrase point one with greater detail and description. Your sentence would work, Kesey, as a topic sentence also. So it is good as a topic sentence. You're definitely starting to reach into the explanation with it. Okay? So, but quite good. Okay? Quite a good piece of writing there, Kesey. All right? So waiting for some more topic sentences, I'm going to go into an explanation. Okay? Okay, now we could go into more explanation here, but you do have to be careful, students, that you have 40 minutes and 250 words. So my explanation so far is the records of past events, such as wars and conquests, are most often written and preserved by the victors of such events. Okay? And now I have the word events and events here. So at home, I need to practice replacing these with synonyms. Okay? Occurrences is another way to say events. All right? So the records of past events, such as wars and conquests, are most often written and preserved by the victors of such occurrences. Now, I could explain more. If I'm writing a university paper, I could keep going by also those who present history tend to present historical facts in their favor. So, of course, a country such as the US will claim certain facts in their favor. Okay? That is a good explanation of the idea that history is subjective. Okay? Now, I have to make sure to explain all of my points that I reveal. And here I'm revealing that it's also available whenever a person needs such knowledge. So I'm going to add a little bit more here. Also, with the advent of digital data, people can now search for information about the past through the internet, gaining immediate access to the required knowledge. Okay, so I make sure to explain that second piece of the topic sentence, which is historical information is available whenever a person needs it, so we really don't need to learn it. Okay, and I might add, therefore, there is no need to memorize it in school. Okay, so again, make sure that your explanations are clear and complete. At home, when you're practicing for task 2, don't be shy or don't be lazy to rewrite your explanations and your sentences several times till you feel that you have truly achieved the ideal explanation. The better the explanation, the more the audience should understand it, and the more of the audience should understand it. Okay? Ferdowsi writes, through studying history, humankind can avoid numerous errors of the past in present and future by knowing not only their causes, but also their consequences. Ferdowsi, that's a really good explanation for body paragraph 2 when we discuss the benefits of studying history. Okay, so remember, we chose option 2 here for Dobbs, which means that body paragraph 1 needs to deal purely with the reasons for not learning history in school. Okay, all right. And what comes after that is the example. Now, I'm going to avoid jumping the gun here and giving you an example. I'll leave that to you. Can you give me a good example for this explanation of the subjective records of history and that they are available anywhere? Okay, I'm sure you can come up with some very clever examples for that. Amarjeet writes, a number of individuals support that history is a useless investment of time to study at school, as there are many ways to acquire knowledge about this field, like the internet. Period. That's good. Amarjeet, that's good. Okay, just put a period at the end of internet, and that's enough. All right, so that's a good explanation. And I like how you reflect the origin of the question, which is some people believe that it's not necessary. Amarjeet, the first part of what you're writing is a topic sentence. The last half of it is an explanation. Okay, when you say like the internet, you're explaining that we can get information easily about history. So one important skill to master in your writing, especially for those of you who are learning for university and college, is to have good separation between your topic sentences and your explanations. If you read what you write and you feel like, I'm kind of mixing my topic sentence with the explanation, then think about how you can rewrite that to separate out those elements, okay, to have them clearer for the reader. All right? It's better to have those clearly separate. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be separate sentences. Sometimes the explanation can flow with the use of a comma or a semicolon, but it should be clearly distinct. Otherwise, it can get confusing for your readers. Okay, so what is an example of gaining access to information about history and it being subjective for the reader? Okay. For instance, a person may find out much about the Battle of Stalingrad. I'm going to start with mine. By simply entering such words into a browser. However, okay, I'm really curious. I'm actually quite excited to see what kind of examples you'll come up with, because I believe we have people in today's class from Russia, India, China, and I'm sure that we have all learned some different parts of history differently in our school years. Okay. For Dobbs, I see that that is an explanation. So all records of history are quite affordable and accessible for the general public through the internet. Sure. Okay. So that's a good explanation. Let's keep moving here, students. I really want to get through body paragraph 1, 2, and the conclusion today. So remember, members, you don't need to write the perfect sentence. I'm here to help you correct. Your goal is also to build your writing fluency, which means not just writing well, but also writing quick enough to get 250 to 300 words on the paper in the exam. Okay. All right, I'll continue with my example here. However, the information they get might be different depending on the source. Okay, now I could keep going there and explain about the differences, but I'm going to stay a little bit neutral here and just stop there. Okay. All right, while I wait for your examples, I'm going to introduce the last part of this body paragraph, the connecting, concluding sentence. And that's a very important sentence for this type of essay. Okay. So here we definitely need to have a good connection or conclusion between body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. Let me ask you, members, what does the connection or this connecting sentence, what does it need to have for this specific question and our approach? So what do we need to make sure to have in this connecting, concluding sentence? In this case, in this essay, this is a very important sentence to get a good band score. Okay, so I've thrown a few challenges at you now. The example as well as the connecting or concluding sentence. While you think about that, I'll read the thesis again and body paragraph 1. So you hear how it flows so far. So although certain individuals may feel that the study of history is useless, as it is often skewed and readily available, I propose that this information is fundamental for students to acquire in order to learn about past mistakes and establishing goals. Many people who believe that learning history in school is an utter waste of time may argue that historical information is often subjective and it is available whenever a person needs such knowledge. The records of past events, such as wars and conquests, are most often written and preserved by the victors of such occurrences. Also, with the advent of digital data, people can now search for information about the past through the internet, gaining immediate access to the required knowledge. Therefore, there is no need to memorize it in school. For instance, a person may find out much about the Battle of Stalingrad by simply entering such words into a browser. However, the information they get might be different depending on the source. Okay, so far so good. So far it's definitely a band 9 essay. Now I need to connect and conclude that body paragraph to my next one. Okay. All right, so Roshni says information may be misleading. Take, for example, in World War II, most people are misled in the Nathuram Godse to kill Gandhi in 1942, which possesses different motives to save India. Okay, Roshni, so good. So you have a background from India, of course. And so you have knowledge of skewed history in India of why Gandhi was murdered, which is true. I know that there's a lot of clout around that. Okay. Kesey says, for instance, Google presents the full information about every president in China, while Baidu, which is in the Chinese search tool, just shows part of the history that is important for the government. Thus, it is a waste of time for studying history. Very good. Yeah, so these are the examples I was quite curious about. So Kesey's example, of course, is about China and how Chinese history is presented differently, whether you search about it in the US or within China. And in fact, that's why China has a lot of restrictions on the internet to control such information. So that's a very good example as well, Kesey. Okay, so some good examples so far. So those would work well. Just make sure that they're clear, okay? Your reader does not need that particular knowledge of history. It just has to be clear that there is misinformation or different information. All right, so far so good. Now, the connecting or the concluding sentence, what should I write? I really want to give you members a chance to think this through. Okay. Shang Hung says, because the information is very easy to get, students might not be fascinated to learn about the past. Okay, so that's the connecting sentence. That's not going to be good enough, Shang Hung, for those really high bands like a band 8 or a band 9. There's a missing element in that connecting sentence. Think about what that is. Okay, what is missing in that connection? Whenever you have a question like this, students, I'll give you a little bit more of a hint of how the connecting concluding sentence should read. So here, the original question is discuss both sides and give your opinion. So here, you're discussing both sides. Okay, let me draw this out for you. So you talk about side 1. Okay. You talk about side 2. And somewhere in here, you need to have your opinion as well. Now, your opinion cannot be just randomly dispersed because that's going to be confusing for the reader, okay? So, as we discussed, your opinion should be this one, okay? So, the second body paragraph, you can think about these as the body paragraphs. So the second one should be the one where your opinion is mentioned along with the other side. So whichever side you are in support of. Okay? Now there's 2 places where you can emphasize your opinion. The thesis . Okay, emphasis. And here, okay, the emphasis. Now, you make the transition in this connecting sentence. Okay, so in this sentence, in this connecting sentence, you need to weaken this argument plus introduce body paragraph 2. Okay, so that's what you should think about. So think about weakening side 1 and strengthening leading in to body paragraph 2. That happens in the connecting sentence in this case. Okay, all right, while you think about that, I'll read Alexander's example here. So Alexander writes, for instance, Russian official history is written by German historians in the 18th century and assures that the Golden Horde was defeated perhaps in the 15th century. However, On the internet, a plethora of maps can be found where it still exists until approximately the 17th century. This discrepancy makes everyone confused, and consequently, persons stop to believe in historical knowledge. Yeah, absolutely, Alexander. I corrected a couple words there, but it's a very good example. Ferdov says World War II is interpreted on the internet differently in Russia and European countries, which makes misinformation for learners. Doesn't have to be young people, Ferdovs, for learners. Keep remembering schools. So Alexander Ferdovs, obviously coming from a Russian background, have again a different perspective on history. Very good. So I was really excited to see those examples in today's class because I know that we're all learning something a little bit different when it comes to history. All right, so let's go back to this concept. So here, remember, the connection for side one, which is the side that you do not believe in, it has to weaken side one, okay? And it has to introduce side two. So I'm going to write the connecting concluding sentence here. Hopefully you have a jump start with the right ideas. Okay. I see Shang Hung already has a new variation of this connecting concluding sentence up, which is good. So Shang Hung says, therefore, to put history in school curriculum is an efficient way to make students learn from the past and establish goals. Shang Hung, that's not bad, but that sentence belongs to the concluding sentence of body paragraph 2. Kisi says, however, humans are often curious about where they come from. I think learning history can tell people that. Okay, Kisi, that's much, much better. Okay, I like how you're using the first person to show that you're about to introduce your opinion because it asks you the question. So Kisi, that's the best connecting concluding sentence that I see so far. Okay, I'll put mine up. Keep trying, students, and if you don't get it the first time or the second time, Shang Hung, try it a third time. Okay. Okay, so there's my connecting, concluding sentence. So nevertheless, nevertheless is a really nice word to think about here. Another word that you can use is nonetheless. Okay, so nevertheless or nonetheless. Keep those two words in mind when you have this type of an essay for your connecting, concluding sentence. So this right away, this word nevertheless, immediately introduces a weakening of this information. So nevertheless is a very good piece of vocabulary to hold and keep in mind when you're writing such an essay. So nevertheless, these reasons to withdraw the subject of history from schools pales in comparison to gaining such knowledge, or pales in comparison to the importance of gaining such knowledge. For young learners. Okay, so here I'm making that transition. So basically now what I'm telling the reader with this one sentence is, yeah, okay, these are arguments for why we should not have history classes in school. And yeah, this is what some people say, but the relative utility of such subjects as history, of learning history, is much greater for the learner. Okay, so that is a very important message to have a good, coherent, high band essay for this question. All right? and then we can lead in with the topic sentence of body paragraph 2. Does that make sense? So does it make sense, members, the importance of having a good, clear sentence here to weaken the side that I don't agree with, which I just discussed, and introducing the side which I will discuss that will be the side which I support? So are you clear on the importance of that sentence? It's very, very essential that you pay attention to this sentence for this essay, because it is the epicenter of this question. So when the examiners give you this type of a task 2 question in the IELTS, discuss both sides and give your opinion, this has to echo throughout your essay. So this has to be extremely clear in your essay that this is the way that you're manipulating your argument. Okay, it has to be very clear. If that's not clear, so if it's not clear that you're discussing both sides and giving your own opinion, there's just absolutely no way to get that band 8 or band 9. And it will even weaken a lower band essay. So if you just simply discuss both sides and your opinion is not clear, you'll get a lower band score. If you're really emphasizing just one side and giving your opinion, you'll get a lower band score. If you're discussing both sides and you're supporting both sides and it sounds like you're just sitting on the fence, it's kind of a neutral essay, you'll get a lower band score. So opinion is necessary. Absolutely, Roshni. Opinion is necessary and both sides are necessary. So that's why you need to take this approach when you have that question. Okay? All right, Roshni says this is one of 2 reasons that studying history should not be included in school curriculum. Nevertheless, this opinion is ludicrous because we can rectify mistakes. Roshni, what you're saying, this is one of 2 reasons, that's a different type of essay. So this is one of 2 reasons for not studying history. That's if you write an essay where you argue that not having history in schools is the right approach for reason number 1, and then body paragraph is reason number 2. So Roshni, that strategy of this is one of 2 reasons, it's not for this type of essay. Okay. All right, let's get into the second body paragraph now, which is the side that we support. Okay. So body 2, we need, of course, another topic sentence. Now in body 2, our topic sentence has to be a deeper definition or a more clear picture, a broad paraphrase of learning about past mistakes and establishing goals. Okay, so write the topic sentences for that. Okay, I'm going to do the same. So Okay. So again, I'm pushing you with vocabulary. I don't expect you to have this at your fingertips, but at the same extent, I do want to show you what the band 9 level writing looks like for the IELTS examiners. So the topic sentence here is through gaining insight into the successes and failures of past generations, students of history are able to better navigate their future decisions to avoid previous tragedies and build upon the innovations of forefathers. Okay, so if there's some new vocabulary there for you, then make sure to write it down. Forefathers are past generations. It's another way to state that. Okay. While you're writing your topic sentence, just keep going here, students. You can write your topic with your explanations and examples. I'm going to continue typing away here so that we can get to the conclusion as well. So I'm going to explain this now. Okay, so that's my explanation. And when you have your topic sentences, your explanations, I will read them. So just like Sheng Hung, keep going, students. Don't let me discourage you from writing. The explanation here is clearly the past is riddled with mistakes that not only unnecessarily cost the lives of tens of thousands of people, but also destroyed cities and nature in the process. Furthermore, current society is built upon the inventions and progress of important historical figures, which establishes much of modern science. Okay. Shang Hung writes, on the other hand, learning from past mistakes is crucial to avoid making terrible decisions and instead going on the right path for the future. Shang Hung, that's very good. Okay, just a couple of word choice and grammatical mistakes that I corrected there. Kesey says, learning about past failures and successes helps students shape the overview of their overview of the world and build a better future. Kesey, beautiful piece of writing there. The one correction is instead of the overview, their overview, because it's the student's overview of the world. For Dobbs, through studying historical events, students can learn their ancestors' achievements and can avoid numerous mistakes of the past in present and future. For Dobbs, really nice writing there as well. The apostrophe in ancestors, put it after the S. So that should be a plural for ancestors. Not just one ancestor's achievements, but many ancestors' achievements. The way you make that clear is by putting the apostrophe after the S. Okay, so pay attention to that. But otherwise, a very good sentence. Okay, keep going, students, with your explanations, even your examples. Okay. Okay, so there's my example. Again, to do this quickly, I'm just visualizing and going with some of the common historical knowledge that most of us learn in schools. So many modern historians argue that the trench warfare strategy of World War I was dated and led to the loss of many young lives without purpose. In addition, much of modern medicine is derived from the demands of World War I, such as penicillin. Okay, so, which is an antibiotic, obviously. So that example backs up the importance of learning about history. Okay, so okay. Finishing it up with a little bit of a connecting or a little bit of a concluding sentence. Clearly, for anyone going into the field of politics and medicine, this is fundamental knowledge to gain from formal education. All right? Okay, so Ferdov says, for instance, nowadays many nations, especially Europeans, have been abandoning nuclear power plants for renewable energy sources. One of the main reasons is nuclear disasters like Chernobyl. Yeah, for Dobbs, that's good. Okay, that works well. So we learned about the disaster of Chernobyl. Even more recently for Dobbs, the unfortunate disaster of Fukushima in Japan, which is another nuclear meltdown. And as safe as we may believe nuclear power plants to be, two major nuclear power plants melting down within the last 100 years is quite scary indeed. Knowing about Chernobyl, knowing about Fukushima certainly gives us valuable knowledge going forward. And that's a very good example for Dobbs for knowledge of past events and building on the science or the innovations of the past as well. So it's a very good pick for an example for this essay for Dobbs. Shang Hung says, many of the great empires created the extended period. However, they cannot also keep it any longer, not only because they made the same mistakes, but also taught the empires would never die. Okay, Shang Hung, so you're talking about the past dynasties and empires of China, and there's definitely some really interesting history there and what we can learn from it. So again, another really good example. Just make sure to explain that clearly. Okay. Yeah, for Dobbs, so you added that piece of information, which is good. Okay, so learning about history. All right, so now after this comes the conclusion, but unfortunately, members, I've run out of time and viewers for this class. So no worries. I will finish this and post it on our community board. Members, I challenge you to finish this conclusion on your own and send it to me by email. I'll give you a day head start, okay? So I'll publish the whole essay with the conclusion on Monday, maybe Tuesday, and that will give you a chance to come up with your own conclusion without me influencing your thoughts. Your conclusion is very important in this essay to be accurate and to be presented in the right way. Keep in mind, hint, hint, for the conclusion that you have to discuss both sides and give your own opinion. Again, nice writing, students. So Shang Hung, Ferdovs, Kisi, Roshni, some really nice pieces of writing there. Alexander also. Do it more. Do it lots, all right? And you will get better and better at it. Now, if the essay's too long, some of you might think, well, Adrian, that's a little bit long. You might be able to do that in 40 minutes, but for me, that would take me closer to an hour. Then think about how you can shorten the essay. So think about where could you go a little bit shorter on this essay and have it still of high quality. All right, everyone, coming up in 30 minutes is speaking part 2. That's going to be an everyone chat class with a cue card, practice, and strategy. And again, for all of our viewers, there are 4 membership levels now, so you can become a member at 4 different levels. It's up to you what you choose. We have lots of different options for you now to maximize your IELTS learning within your budget. Check us out at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com as well. Download our app, Academic IELTS Help. So lots and lots of resources. We really want to be a sustainable company while our prime objective is to help you improve your English, improve your communication, succeed in the IELTS exam, and in your future endeavors. So that's what we're about. The rest of it is up to you. Keep up the good studies. Hopefully, I'll see you in 30 minutes. Bye for now.